Hey guys, JK Tabletop Wargames. The first battle report on the new map is going to be a Chain of Command game. I'm sure lots of you have heard of Chain of Command by Two Fat Lardies. It's a great game. I'm going to be playing it in 15mm. A lot of people play it in 28mm, but we're going to play in 15. So let's go over the forces. So for the Germans, we have a senior leader with the Panzerschreck team. We have 6 riflemen with an MG42 with the 3 team and a junior leader attached to them. The same for these guys with the junior leader, and then the N team have 6 rifles and an MG42 but no junior leader. We've got 1 Stug, he is a junior leader, and then we have 1 Tiger 1 hard hitting tank, and then a light mortar. So that's the Germans. Let's go over the Americans. Okay, so the Americans, we have a senior leader, we have 2 bazooka teams, we have an artillery observer, we have 6 riflemen and a BAR team with a junior leader, 6 riflemen and a BAR team, and the same here with a junior leader. We've then got 2 Shermans. 1 is a junior leader and 1 without, and then we've got 1 M10 by itself, and a 57mm anti-tank gun. And the Americans have off-table artillery, which is why we've got that observer guy. Okay, so that's the forces. Let's go into see where the deployment points are. Okay, so for the Germans, their first deployment point is here in this field. The second one is in this little corner here, and the third one is this hay bale by this hill. Now the Americans, they have theirs here in this field, they have a centre one here in this field that's in cover, and then they have one in the garden of this house. So I'm going to roll and see whether it's the Germans or the Americans that get the first phase, and then I'll come back. Okay, so the Germans have the first phase. So just to show you an overshot of the game map. Loving this game map. So here we go then. We're going to roll 5 dice for the Germans and see what we can bring on. Okay, so straight away we've rolled 2 6s. So the Germans are going to get a double phase. So we'll put them to one side. A 3 we can bring on a junior leader. A 2 we can bring on a section, and a 1 we can bring on a team. So the 3 I'm going to bring on a junior leader with a 6-man rifle team and the MG42. So I'll come back once I've deployed that. Okay, so these guys have deployed off this deployment point. Quite risky, but because I brought them on with the junior leader, he's going to put them on Overwatch. So they're on Overwatch and they'll be able to fire at anything that comes on the table from the Americans. So now with the 1, I'm going to deploy a mortar team. So the mortar team has deployed 6 inches from there on the top of that hill. And then we've got a 2 left, so I'm going to bring in another section. So that's the 2 I've used, and that's for a section. They don't have a junior leader, but they have 6 riflemen and a MG42 with 3 men. Now the Germans got a double phase, so we'll go straight into rolling their dice again and see what we get this time then. So here we go, second phase for the Germans. I don't believe it, they rolled double 6s again. So a 5 puts 1 on their chain of command, and then a 2 we're going to be able to bring on a section, but we're going to add those 2 together to make a 4 to bring on the senior leader. So let's do that. Okay, so the senior leader has come on. He's deployed behind these guys, and that's about all we can do really. So let's roll again, because they have another phase, and see what we get. So no double phase this time, but we do have 2 chain of command. So the Germans are on 3 on their chain of command dice, and then the single 6 means it'll go to the Americans. So we have a 2 and a 3. The 3, I'm going to bring on the stug. Now he has to come on 6 inches from the road. So he doesn't have to be on the road, he just has to be 6 inches from it. So he's going to go there in cover. And then that 2, I'm not going to use, I'm going to wait and see what the Americans do. So into the American phase. Okay, so here we go, American phase. Let's see what we get. Oh, interesting. So they've got 1 on their chain of command. And we've got 4 1s. So I think what we will do is add that up to make a 3 to bring on a section with the junior leader, and then the 1 will bring on a tank, I think. So let's do that. Okay, so the junior leader has brought this section on, 6 riflemen and a BAR team with 3 guys, and they're going to fire directly into the Germans over the way. But remember, the Germans are on overwatch, so they will be able to fire back at them. So we have 6 rifle shots, 3 shots from the BAR, and the junior leader is adding a D6 because he's used an activation to bring these on and then his second activation to add a D6. So we're going to roll all these. We're hitting on 4s because they're within 18, if I can pick them up properly. So let's see what we get. Here we go. Okay, not too bad. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, but Americans get to re-roll 1s on rifles and BARs, so we can re-roll these, and we get another 2 hits. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits, which have to be even. So it's going to be 3 on the MG42 team and 3 on the rifle team. So the 3 on the rifle team, they're in light cover. Oh, we have 2 men dead. So we'll get a little dice and show that we have 2 men dead from that rifle team. And then the 3 on the MG42. Let's see what happens with the MG42. 1 man dead and a point of shock. So the MG42 is down to 2 men and they've taken a point of shock. So for shock, I've got these little pin markers that I use from Bolt Action. So they're on 1 point of shock. But they're on overwatch, so they are now going to fire back into these guys. And also, we've got a junior leader. Now, we've lost 2 men in total. So if we roll a 2, 1 or under, if we roll a 1, basically, a junior leader's been hit. No, he's fine. Okay, so the Germans are now going to trip their overwatch and fire back. So the MG42 and the rifle team firing back across because they're on overwatch. So we have 8 dice from the MG42 and we have 6 dice from the rifles. So let's see what we get. I roll them here. Hitting on 4s, remember? So we have quite a lot of hits. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 hits. So it's going to be 5 on the BAR team and 5 on the rifle team. So the 5 on the BAR team, they're in light cover. Let's see what happens to the BAR team. They have taken 2 points of shock. So we'll get a little pin marker and put a dial on it. So they're on 2. And then 5 for the rifle team. They got a man dead and they have 4 points of shock. Okay, so they need that. Now, is the junior leader hit on a 1? No, junior leader's fine. Okay. So we still have a 1 to use for the Americans, which we're going to bring on a Sherman. Okay, sorry guys, with the 1 I brought on the Sherman. He has to be 6 inches from the road, so he's deployed behind this hedgerow here, and he's got a concealed shot over at the stug over the way. So normally a 5, but he is concealed a 7, so we need a 7 to hit that stug. So 2d6 needing a 7. Yeah, we've hit the stug. So now I'm going to roll my AP dice, and the stug will roll their armor dice. Okay, so the Sherman gets 7 AP, and the stug gets 7 armor. So we are looking for 5s and 6s to cause damage on that stug. And we get 2. So we've got 2 there. And then we'll roll 5 for the stug. There he is. And he needs to bounce 2 of them. Let's see what happens. And he bounces 2, so it's equal, so we still have to roll. We've got an equal hit. So let's roll. We rolled a 2. Let's see what that is on the chart. Okay, a 2 is no effect, so that hit just bounces off the stug and he's fine. So that's it for the Americans. Caused a bit of damage and a few casualties on the Germans. Into the German phase then. Okay, so I've just rolled for the German phase. 6 means it will go to the Americans next turn. The 4 means we could activate our senior leader, which I don't think we're going to do. What we're going to do is use the 1 to bring on our Tiger, because he doesn't have a leader in that tank. So he's going to come on, and he is going to go 6 inches from the road. There. Now through there, he can see, I'll show you guys, he can see through that ruined building to the Sherman that is in cover. So he's going to do that straight away, and he will need a 7 because he's covered. So let's see what we get. 4, 5, 6. No, he's missed. The Tiger misses. So I nearly dropped my camera. So the Tiger misses. Okay, and then with the other one, we're going to fire the light mortar. Now he needs line of sight, which he has got from here, on top of this hill. He can just see through over to the field. I'm saying you can anyway. Now he fires 3 dice. Actually, he doesn't have line of sight, and he needs 5s or 6s. If he had line of sight, he'd be hitting on 4s. So let's see what he gets. Nothing. Whistles off. Nothing with the mortar. Okay, and then we had a 3, which is a junior leader, and a 4, which is a senior leader. So the 4 I'm not going to use, but the 3 I'm going to activate this unit here with the junior leader. So they are going to move for 1d6, so they can go 5, but they're going over these obstacles. You should roll 2 dice and take the lowest, but we'll say that's fine. So they're going to move 5 inches, which gets them into here, and the junior leader goes with them. We've got 1 point of shock, and now they're going to open fire at the guys. But first of all, the junior leader has used 1 activation to activate them to move, but his second activation, he's going to get them to throw a hand grenade. So let's measure that. So they are 6 inches away, so they need a 7 on 2d6 to throw this hand grenade. 3, 4, 5, no, misses. And then we're going to fire at half effect because we have moved. So let's work this out. We have 4 guys, which is 4 dice, but we have Yeah, sorry, that's not shock, that's men dead. So we've got 4 dice there, and then 8 dice from the MG42. Okay, let's get that sorted. Okay, so got all the dice sorted. So we're hitting on 4s because we are under 18. Let's see what we get. Oh, could have been better. Wow, that's a really bad roll, guys. Look at that. We've only got 2 hits. Wow. Yeah, 2 hits. That's awful. So 1 on the BAR team, point of shock, and 1 on the rifles is nothing. So a point of shock on the BAR team. Okay, so the American phase. This is what I've just rolled. So a double phase for the Americans. They've rolled a double 6. A 5 is our chain of command, so that's gone up to 3. And now the 1 and the 3. So with the 3, I'm going to bring on another infantry section with the junior leader. Okay, so I brought on the BAR team and the rifle team with the junior leader. And they're now going to fire into the Germans in this field. So we're going to get 3 shots from the BAR, 6 shots from the rifles, and 2 dice from the junior leader. Okay, so they're hitting on 4s because they're within 18. So let's see what we get. Okay, it's not great. So we've got 1, 2 hits from all those shots, but we can re-roll 1s because of the American rule. So we'll re-roll these dice here, and that's 2 more hits. So we have 4 hits, so it's going to be 2 on the MG42 and 2 on the rifle team. So the MG42 is 2 points of shock. So they're now on 3 shock with 2 men, so they're pinned. And then the rifles is 1 point of shock, so they take a point of shock. But the rifle team are pinned. Sorry, the MG42 team. Okay, and with the 1, I brought in the 57mm anti-tank gun, and he's going to take a shot at that stug over the way, but he is concealed, so he's going to need a 7. So, can he get a hit? Yes, he's hit, nearly double 6. So I'll work out the AP and then be back. Okay, so he has a AP of 7, so we're looking for 5s and 6s. Oh wow, okay, we've got 4 hits against the stug there. The stug will make his save, and he has armor 7, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he's going to have to try and deflect these hits on 5s or 6s. And he's deflected 2, so we've got a net 2 hit. So take those away, we've got a net 2 hit. So let's roll a dice on the table and see what happens. A 5. So the stug has taken 2 shock and his main machine gun's been knocked out. So not too good for him. And remember, once you go over your shock, then guys are going to start bailing out the tank and it's destroyed. So that's it for that phase, but the Americans do have a double phase, so let's roll again. So just rolled again. So we've got quite a good roll here. So what we're going to do is use the 2 to get the rifle squad to fire. We're then going to use a 1 on the anti-tank gun, a 1 on this tank that doesn't have a leader in it. The 3 we're going to bring in a junior leader in a tank, and a 4 we're going to bring in a senior leader. So let's start with the rifle squad, see what they can do. So shots from the rifles and BAR into these Americans that are getting beat up in the field here. So hitting on 4s. Oh, that's better. No 1s to re-roll though. So we'll take out those misses. And we have 4 hits. So 2 on the MG42 and 2 on the rifle squad. So the 2 on the rifle squad is another point of shock, so they've taken 2 shock now. And the MG42 is, oh, they've been wiped out because there was 2 men left because they already had a guy dead. So the MG42 has gone, so that's going to be a bad things happen roll for the Germans. Now, I forgot to say at the start of the game, the morale is starting on 6 for each side. So this is going to be quick and brutal. So a bad things happen roll for the Germans. Here we go. A team wiped out. A 2. Let's have a look. So a 2 is no effect. They don't care. So their morale's still on 6. Okay, but I think that could change because we've still got quite a lot. So this double phase is really helping the Americans. So let's go into this anti-tank gun again. He's going to fire at the Stug again. So he needs a 7. Can he get another hit on this gun? On this tank, sorry. 5, 6, 7, 8. He's hit. He gets his 7 strike dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looking for 5s and 6s. Oh, only 2 this time. Okay, so there's 2. And then the Stug gets his defense dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he's looking for 5s and 6s. And he gets 2, so it does equal. So we roll 1 dice, see what the effect is. 6. Let's have a look. Okay, bad news for the Stug. He's now got 3 shock on him, which is equal to his morale, so he cannot advance forward anymore. And he had to reverse 1d6. Luckily for him, he rolled a 1, so he only moved an inch back. But if he takes any more shock, then that tank's going to be destroyed. So the next thing is going to be for this Sherman here. He's going to move 1d6 and fire his main gun. So let's do that now. So he's going to move 5. Okay. So the Sherman's moved 5 down the road. He's feeling brave, going to try and finish off this Stug. So he is concealed by the hedgerow over there, so we need a 7. 4, 5, 6, 7, just. Okay, so 7 strike dice for the Sherman. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looking for 5s and 6s. Surely they got to finish off this Stug. 3, sorry. So we've got 3 hits there, and then 7 saves for that Stug. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he's looking for 5s and 6s. And he bounced it. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, the Stug loves it, so he's fine. So the Americans are trying everything they can, but it's not happening. Then we had a 3, which we're now going to bring in the junior leader in his tank and see what he can do. So the junior leader's come in his Sherman, 6 inches from the road. He's going to take a shot at the Stug as well, so he's going to need a 7. So this is just rinse and repeat, but we've got an opportunity to finish off the Stug. So we need a 7. 4, 5, 6. No, whistles past him. And then we had a 4 to finish it off. We're going to bring in the senior leader, and he is going to deploy off this jump off point and attach himself to this squad. Now he is going to rally some shock off of this squad. Okay, so senior leaders come in. He's taken a point of shock off the BAR team, so they're on 1 shock. And he's taken a point of shock off the rifles, so they're now down to 3 shock. So that's 2 actions, and his third and final action, they're going to throw a hand grenade. Now these guys are 6 inches away, so we need a 7. The reason I'm getting them to throw a hand grenade is I think it could do more damage than just firing. So we need a 7. 5, 6, 7, 8, it goes off. So it counts as 2, and it reduces covers. So these count as being in the open. So we have a rifleman dead and a point of shock. So they've got 3 dead and 3 left. Now, was it the junior leader, which we keep forgetting to do? If we roll a 1, it will be, because they lost 1 guy there. Nope, the junior leader's fine. Okay, so another grenade takes out another German guy, and they have only 1 shock on them, so they're okay, but they've only got 3 guys left. And that wraps up the American phase, so into the German phase. Okay, so bad roll for the Germans in their phase. The 4 we can assign to the senior leader, and then a 2 we're going to bring in a section with the junior leader will come on with them, but he can't activate them or do anything, so, but they will be able to come on. And that's about it, so let's do that. Okay, so this MG42 team and rifle team came on as one section, and they fired at the BAR and the rifles across the way. They caused 1 point of shock on the BAR team, so they're now on 3 shock, and they caused 2 shock on these guys. So the rifles have 5 shock and 4 men, so they are pinned. The rifle team are pinned. And then what we're going to do is get the senior leader to get these guys moving forward. So they're going to move 3d6. Okay, so they go 11, 12, 13. Okay, so they moved up 13, but because they use 3d6, the rifles take a point of shock. And that's going to be it for the German phase. Quite frustrating because they couldn't activate any tanks. So we'll go back to the American phase. So double phase for the Americans. Rolled 2 6s. So those 6s are there, and then 2 4s. So only one of those 4s is going to be good to us. But this 3, I'm going to use the junior leader in the Sherman, and he's going to move 1d6 and then fire at the Stug, who's looking in bad shape. Okay, so this Stug has been wiped out. We got a net 1 hit on him, and he took another point of shock and he went over, so the crew have bailed out and it's destroyed. Rolled for bad things happening, rolled a 6, which is -2, so remember we started on 6. The Germans have gone down to a 4, which means they're going to only have 4 command dice now. And yes, I am using sharp practice force morale, because I haven't printed off any chain of command. But the Germans are down to 4, so they're looking shaky. So the senior leader, because we had a 4, remember, is going to activate these guys. They're going to shoot, and they're going to throw 2 hand grenades. That's all 3 actions from him. So let's do the hand grenades first. Okay, so the Americans just threw 2 hand grenades, and these guys have 5 men dead. Okay, so these guys have 5 men dead. Both hand grenades killed 2 men and caused some more shock. So they've got 3 shock with 1 man left, so they break. They've gone back 13 inches. So the junior leader goes with them, and we now need to roll for bad things happening for a team breaking. So a 2, I think that is no effect. Team breaks. Oh no, it's -1. If they'd rolled a 1, it'd be no effect. So the Germans go down to a 3. So they're now only going to get 3 command dice. So this is, oh, it's looking dodgy for the Germans. And that's it. So into the German phase. Okay, so the German command dice. A 1 we're going to use for the Tiger. A 2 we're going to use for this section. And a 2 we're going to use for this section. And we do have a 3 which we could use for this junior leader, but I don't think there's much point in rallying this shock off this one guy. There's no point. So let's start with the Tiger. He's going to move 1d6 and then fire. So he moves 6 inches. So that is going to get him up to here, and then take a clean shot at that Sherman in the field, not the one on the road, the one in the field. So he needs a 5. So can he get the hit now? 5, 6, 7, yes. So I'm pretty sure he gets 12 dice against the Sherman's 6. So let me grab some dice and I'll come back. Okay, so 12 AP dice into this Sherman from the Tiger. I'll roll them here. Okay, what do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3. Wow, that could have been better. So we got 3. Now the Sherman has a defense of, it's either 6 or 5. Let me check. 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's armor 6 for the Sherman. So he needs to try and bounce these 3 hits from the Tiger. Here we go. He's bounced 2 of them. So he's bounced 2. So the Tiger has a net 1 hit. Let's see what happens. And he rolls a 3. So let me just check. So the result was 1 shock and the vehicle cannot be activated next phase, which is quite annoying for the Americans. So that was the Tiger. Let's move on to this infantry section. So they're going to fire their rifles and their MG into the guys looking in bad shape over the hedge. Okay guys, so the fire from this German squad has just caused mayhem. The rifle section have 3 men dead, double the shot, so they braked, and the junior leader was hit. He rolled a 1, he was killed. The senior leader was hit, and he rolled a 1. He rolled a 2, so he was lightly wounded. So their force morale has gone down to a 2, while the Germans are on 3. So things have just changed round massively now. And we've got a final activation, this squad here, which they are going to move 3d6 because they want to capture this jump off point, which will force a morale test for the Americans. Well, would you believe it, guys? The Germans have just won the game. They've taken this jump off point. So the Americans lost it, rolled a 4 on morale, and it's -2. So they go down to a 0. So the Germans win because they kept their morale at 3. So it's victory for the Germans. I mean, it was looking like the Americans were going to storm that, and then the Germans came back at them. So I hope you guys enjoyed that game. Really love the new map. Really like Chain of Command. Really interesting game. So make sure to subscribe and comment, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.